topic of today, again, is, let's get back to it, the reverse publishing tool. This is the last installation of it. So let's get to this tutorial now. I'm going to go to my demo site, wordpress-demo.ourhometown.com. And the workflow tools that we're talking about here are all controlled on the back end through a plugin called Edit Flow. Okay, so you can come in here and learn more about this plugin. There's a lot of things that it does, but the things that I want to focus on are just the critical tags and status updates that we can put on articles to regulate the workflow. So like, again, imagine that you're using this system to produce your print edition. You're doing reverse publishing. How would you go about managing the content and getting it to the right person when they need to see this article? Because let's say you have a reporter that writes a first draft on an article. It needs to go to the editor next. Then it needs to go to the paginator. How is that going to be communicated through this CMS, this pre-press CMS? Well, one of the best ways that you can do it, I would argue, is with the article status. So let's go to edit this article and take a look. So we have basically a bunch of custom statuses in here. So like when you look at your WordPress site, when we first set it up for you, it probably only has, I think, 2 or 3 of these options in here: draft, publish, and I believe pending review. But then all these other things are custom statuses that have been set up in Edit Flow. So this is what I'm talking about when I say, every time I talk about this, that you can create custom statuses, because we can create a status for every person at the paper. We could create a status ready for Matt, ready for John, whoever needs to get, whoever's part of the workflow. And, this is basically how we're going to assign it to different people in that workflow. So I set up these custom statuses. Ready for Matt is an example, as if I was the editor. So I could set this article, update the status as ready for Matt. And then the key here is that I would go back, hopefully that's saved, I think it did, yep. If I go back to all articles, every day I could just come in here in the morning and search for ready for Matt articles, just filter for that. And I would just get this one story for now. But that's how I primarily see this being used, through the filters. There's other ways that we can create a workflow. You can get creative with the different categories, things like that. But this is kind of a neat plugin that I think is worth looking at, this Edit Flow. So if we go over to Edit Flow here, I want to show you, oh, there's our custom statuses. So we've got all of these different options here. You can have editorial comments. You can create a story budget. We can have a calendar of different articles. These are all things that are really interesting to dig into, but I just want to show you the critical stuff, like the custom status. I can come in here and edit my custom status at any time, the different custom statuses that are options. So we have ready for Matt. Let's say I want to add ready for John, and the description is ready for John, editor, to review and finalize for print. I add that new status, then it's going to show up in this list on the right here, ready for John, and it's got the description. And look at this, you can actually see all the articles that are categorized in these different custom statuses. But then if I go back to articles, now I could edit this. And let's say, I'm the reporter, so it was ready for me yesterday. I made some changes to the article. Now I can reassign that ready for John, and that custom status is already available instantly. So, you can edit these things on the fly as you get new people working at the paper. You can easily update the custom statuses so that you can basically insert them into the workflow. Now, wait a second, did that actually save the way I wanted to? Oh, because what happened was when you save it as one of these statuses, it's actually unpublishing it, because these are articles that are offline, and they're part of the pre-press process still. So they're going to be marked as drafts when you change them to a non-published status. Okay, but then if I either hit publish, or really what I'd probably want to do in that case is just change and then say save as ready for Matt. You want to use that save option when you're changing the statuses and you want them to all stay as drafts. If I were to hit publish, it's going to take it out of that custom status and put it in really one of the default statuses, which is published. Okay, so that's what just happened there. It just published that story. Now I'm curious here, I don't actually know this, so bear with me for a moment. If we go to these custom statuses, is there a way, let's edit this one. Well, you can make them as default. Interesting. Okay. I'd have to look into this option. I wonder if there's a way to have different versions of the published status. So you can have an article live on the website, but then have different sub custom statuses that are all published, but they have different tags on them. That would be something I'd have to look into in a little bit more. So I'll follow up with engineering on that, and maybe we'll put out an update after this live stream. But that's it for today's main office hours topic. We didn't have a whole lot of questions today, so I just spent a lot of time on some of the things that are happening at the company, some of the industry news. But that's it for today. So I'll wrap it up here. We're just about at an hour, so right on time. And again, thank you all for joining me and for checking out the video if you're watching it after it's published on YouTube. And we'll see you next week for office hours, again, every Monday here at noon with Matt. And we'll check you at that next one. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you next time.